county and met representatives of New England Hydro yesterday. We will have a report for you in 2 weeks. Working on the lease for Humor Park to put a hydroelectric power plant down there. Also,
Mayor?
yes.
In that regard, when we do have a lease in a format that would be presented, I hope that we can circulate it. I know we always circulate it the Friday before as part of the package. We haven't done any earlier, and we could circulate to council members. I only ask council members that if you have any questions, to try to get them to myself or Mr. Clark before the meeting itself, so we could be prepared to expound upon them. There's a lot of things in there that someone might have questions about. That hopefully hopefully there'll be less in this final draft than there was on Tuesday.
Right, and let me just point out, there's a lot of rumors floating around about this hydroelectric plant, the green energy. We are, on the staff, we are all in support of it. We think it's a great idea, green energy. However, we don't think it should cost the citizens of Easton any additional dollars. And right now, the way that lease is drafted,
there's exposure.
There's major exposure. So we had a meeting yesterday, and we came to some resolve. We told them that we would put it in the form of a lease and include our language in that lease. And if they approve it, fine. If not, we negotiate it further. But we're not going to expose the citizens of Easton over the next 20 years to liability for things that are out of our control. We're just not going to do that. At least we're not going to recommend a city council.
Yeah, right.
City council may do it. We're not doing it. We're not recommending it.
That's right. And we're actually talking about 50 years.
That's right. We're actually talking about 50 years. Okay. In your packet for tonight, you did see the trash contracts. Mr. Hopkins is there to address that. I just, in our preparation of our budget for next year, just know that the trash contracts are extremely high. And we're seeing this throughout the country, definitely throughout the valley. And Mr. Hopkins can address that either tonight or during the budget hearings when we set them up later tonight.
But they're extremely high in what we had in the past, but they're not extremely high in comparison to other municipalities.
That is true. We are. We have some municipalities are over $500 a year. We're still at like $320, $340.
Well, that's the rate. The current rate that we charge the residents is not as high as the rate that the adjacent municipalities are charging their residents. But we would have to do. We never did maybe Dave could answer this, but I haven't seen a tonnage comparison and a labor comparison.
3 years ago, we absorbed the $600,000 increase.
The city's probably paying more on labor due to the back end load. But Dave could address that later on.
Yeah. But I just wanted to point out, it isn't.
We are still.
It's not just us.
Correct.
It's everybody else.
Yep.
And it's within the range. We're doing well as far as what our garbage rates are today. What they will be next year, we still haven't come up to a final decision. But interestingly enough, Schrin Landfill is not our lowest bidder on the disposal. So we will be paying our collection company to go all the way to Bethlehem at the landfill that we've identified we were suing. We would join the appeal not to expand. So that's kind of interesting, but that's another story. Also, next meeting, the restoration awards will be given out September 27th. And then the budget dates, right now, the presentation is October 2nd because the 1st is a Sunday. So Monday to October 2nd at 6 o'clock.
Mayor, we advertised that for noon like we did the last 2 years.
Okay, cool. All right, then we'll have it at noon. October 24th looks like it might be a date to have a discussion. We're not allowed by charter to have it that soon. It has to sit for 3 weeks. Yeah, 3 weeks. And then November 7th, 21st, December 12th, we're looking for adoption because it has to be adopted before December 15th. So
what would the dates be for?
October 24th, November 7th, 21st, and December 12th for adoption.
Okay, I have one question though. December 12th for adoption. The 21st of November. Okay, that's before the holiday then.
Yeah, it's before it's the Wednesday. It's the Tuesday before the Thanksgiving.
Right, because our meeting I believe is
The night before.
that Tuesday. Okay. October 24th, November 7th, and December 21st? No,
No,
21st
November
of
21st,
November.
December 12th.
December 12th, we're adopting it. When are the hearings going to be? The 24th, November 7th?
24th, 7th, 21st,
And when are we
and the 12th if
introducing?
we need it before we adopt it.
So when would we be introducing it, though?
October 2nd.
No, that's.
Oh,
that's
the
presented.
presentation would be October 24th.
No,
Introducing the
I'm
ordinance.
confused.
Oh, introducing
Yeah,
the budget
introducing
ordinance.
the budget,
Oh,
yes.
whatever is the second, what is it, October 1st?
It would have to be November, late November or December.
No, it's in
No, it has
October.
to be in
It's first week in, it's the first
No,
meeting in
in
October.
November, I think, is when we actually introduce the budget.
we still have
Right.
meetings through November.
That's true.
discussing it.
We have a meeting on the,
End of November.
End of November, yeah.
so we would introduce it on the 21st of November. That's when we will be meeting.
We will introduce
introduce
it
it at the
on the
council
week
meeting.
before that. The 13th is the first Wednesday of the month, second Wednesday of the month.
No,
13th is the second Wednesday of the month.
no, the 13th is a Monday of November.
Oh, I'm in December. Jeez. Okay, so it's the 8th of the month. So we would introduce it on the 8th of November and vote on it on the 12th.
Okay,
When and why we have the November 21st.
Because it's introduced, it's not approved. It's
Yeah,
introduced, but it's not approved.
but I mean,
Oh,
if we change it, then it's gotta be reintroduced again. So, I mean, why not just introduce it the last?
introduce it on the 21st of November.
22nd. 20,
Yeah. Whenever we have it before
ha,
Thanksgiving.
introduced on November 22nd.
Thanksgiving is the 23rd, correct?
Right. Yeah, but
And then
we don't
usually
meet then.
We usually don't meet that Wednesday.
Oh, the
or we meet
21st.
That Tuesday.
So we could do it on the 21st of that.
We'll do it on November 21st and vote on it the 12th.
Okay, so one more question, just so I have it right, and I apologize. So our first hearing is gonna be October 24th. Nope,
Yes.
October 24th, that's a Tuesday.
Mhm.
And
They're all
then
Tuesdays.
Then the second one's gonna be November 7th, which is a Tuesday. And the third one will be,
The 21st, which is also a meeting night.
okay, then I have a question for Joel. Can we change anything on that day, since it wouldn't be 24 hours till it was introduced?
It's not introduced yet.
But
Won't
it
be
will be
introduced.
on the 21st. So if we have our last
No,
possible
we just said we're
hearing,
going to introduce it. We're not going to introduce it until November, our meeting on the
21st.
21st.
So that if we needed last one, can we do it that same night?
I mean, we're dealing first with, that 24-hour rule has to do with the agenda. You know,
Correct.
that the matter in the bill is on the agenda. The modifications, you know, depending on the nature of the modifications, if you have major modifications, then I would think you'd have to,
But if we're just introducing it. So
Yeah.
If we have discussions on the 21st throughout the meeting,
it doesn't,
we come to some decision,
yeah.
then at the end of the meeting, Dave says, I'm introducing this.
Yeah,
And we made those changes.
Well, we
That's-
We've already made the changes.
we can still
There's
make
no
my,
changes made.
we can still make
It's all
minor
done.
changes on the 12th.
that's, I mean, yeah, I mean, you're absolutely correct. If you go in if you go and amend it, and at the end of the day,
Right.
the budget as amended is now put on the docket for approval in 2 weeks.
Right.
You've got the 2 weeks notice,
Yeah.
and no action is being taken on the introduction anyway.
Right.
We can introduce it after any discussion, then
Right.
make all those
Yeah,
changes.
the,
That's
the,
fine.
the main thing is that the budget itself is on the agenda.
Yes.
Right.
So that's the critical, I mean, that's the whole thing with that notice rule. It really only talks about agenda. It doesn't
Doesn't
talk about
the
content.
actual content. No,
But my-
We
But
wouldn't
my own-
introduce it at the beginning of the meeting, we'd wait until the very end of the
Right.
meeting.
Okay.
to introduce it.
All right.
Yeah, usually when the questions come up is when, 2 weeks later, somebody wants to amend it,
Right.
and then I gotta deal with the issue of
That's-
how
that's more
substantive it is.
problem.
That's exactly it, yeah.
Okay, so reviewing date is Tuesday, October 24th, November 7th is a Tuesday, and then the 21st if needed, and then we're also gonna introduce it after all the discussion and any changes are made, correct? And then it's scheduled to be voted on December 12th. No, December,
Yep.
Yeah,
Yes,
December
12.
well, December 13th is the Wednesday.
Mr. Campos, City Administrator's report.
Real quick, quickly, just, let council know as per the charter, the city administrator is required to submit a budget to the mayor, on September 1st or 30 days prior, to the delivery to council. So that I just want to, make known to council that has been done. Secondly, I've been appointed by the governor to co-chair the Governor's Advisory Commission on Latino Affairs. So there's going to be 4 meetings out in Harrisburg this year, next year, I'm going to be participating. Their budget season is, or their fiscal year is July to July, roughly.
I'm sorry, Louis, what affairs? I didn't hear
The
you.
Governor's Advisory Commission on Latino
Oh,
Affairs.
okay.
Yeah, they have different advisory commissions. This is just one. So I just want to let everyone know, and I'll be in Harrisburg next Tuesday, and coming back on Wednesday. And Mayor, I guess you started off, and I'd rather just turn it back to you. You had an initial parking summit, and I don't know if you want to say any words.
Well, I had the parking summit on Monday, and Mr. Councilmember O'Connell and Ruggles were there. We're trying. It was ironic that it was the same time that one of the local papers did a expose on parking in downtown. We were trying to come up with several different scenarios dealing with the P word in downtown. That led to the P word in neighborhoods and led to a discussion about street sweeping and led to a discussion about a lot of things. We came up with some ideas that the idea is that the parking summit was made up of internal groups of people from the city. We will present our recommendations after one more meeting to a committee of 5, which will include 2 retailers, 2 businesses, and a restaurant owner. They will then make the presentation to City Council once they come up with their final recommendations. I'd like to have it done before the budget's adopted, so that we can include anything in the budget that we need to include. Right now, we're hoping to meet in another 2 weeks with this group, have the end of the month, or end of October, have a meeting with the residents and present it to City Council sometime in November. So that's the plan. Good point. Thank you, Mr. Campos.
Yep.
Okay, anything else, Mr. Campos?
No, that's it.
There's no correspondence to be accepted and no unfinished business. Madam Clerk, new business.
We have bill number 30 being introduced by Dr. Ruggles, which would amend the Article 3, the traffic control map of the city of Easton, and that would be for creating a load and unloading zone in the 100 block of South 11th Street. We have I'm sorry.
I just have a question before, it's not voted on tonight, but the introduction, and how many spaces is that taken?
One.
Just one?
What I had put
Okay,
in,
all right.
yeah, a
Was
single
it just
space,
said
yeah.
seven, all right.
Did I put anything wrong in here?
No,
Oh, okay. Okay, we have a resolution being introduced by Mrs. Sultana that would approve an agreement with Pannoni Associates for alternate plan review, engineering, and sewer enforcement services.
Introduce. Move, yes.
Second.
moved in second, any discussion? It's just moved.
Mayor Panto?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. Milan?
Aye.
Mr. O'Connell?
Aye.
Dr. Ruggles?
Aye.
Mrs. Sultana?
Aye.
We have a resolution also being introduced by Mrs. Sultana that would approve a 2-year contract with SD Lawn Services for building and property maintenance services.
Move.
Second.
Moved in second, any discussion? This is part of the Clean and Lean program we started many years ago. And it's when a person refuses to maintain their property, we go and maintain it, and we lien the property, plus an administrative cost. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Okay, Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. Milan?
Aye.
Mr. O'Connell?
Aye.
Dr. Ruggles?
Aye.
Mrs. Sultana?
Aye.
And Mayor Panto?
Aye.
We have a resolution being introduced by Dr. Ruggles, which would approve a 3-year contract between the City of Easton and Waste Management for the processing of the city's recyclable materials.
So moved.
Second.
Moved in second, discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Milan?
Aye.
Mr. O'Connell?
Aye.
Dr. Ruggles?
Aye.
Mrs. Sultana?
Aye.
Mayor Panto?
Aye.
And Mr. Brown?
Aye.
We have a resolution being introduced by Dr. Ruggles, which would approve a 3-year contract between the City of Easton and Waste Connections Incorporated and that would be for the acceptance and disposal of solid waste.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Mr. Milan?
Aye.
Mr. O'Connell?
Aye.
Dr. Ruggles?
Aye.
Mrs. Sultana?
Aye.
Mayor Pianto?
Aye, but that wasn't that for our recycling?
No, recycling was.
Recycling, yeah. Okay. Oh, waste connections.
Mayor Pianto?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
I'd like to vote against.
Aye.
The low bidder.
Okay, that's it.
Okay, at this point in the meeting, we have. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, before we go into public comment, there's one thing I forgot to mention for the report. The 185 committee was going to be meeting next week, but to discuss changes that the developers are making, but that meeting has been postponed.
We had another meeting with the developer today about additional changes to make the project even better.
Okay, all right.
Didn't want to waste their time
All right, thank you.
until it's done internally. At this time, we have anybody who would like to make public comment? Mr. Ravitz? Uh-huh. It's where the pump station is on Larry Holmes Drive, across to the DNL Trail. So that we don't have to take that over the bridge and that 611 South. And you weren't. Thank you. Glad you weren't dead in 3 years. They didn't even start the licensing process yet with FERC. Until they have a lease, they can't start it. So they need to lease with us first, and it's been an ongoing battle, or discussions have been ongoing for the last 18 months, and we need to get them to the point where they will cover the city. For example, we operate the canal 6 months out of the year, and it drains. And we drain it the whole off season when we don't have the canal boat into it. So the canal boat is taken up to what we call the dry dock. And as the water goes down, we can get under the hull and do repairs. Well, if there's water in the canal the entire time, we can't do that. So they need to build us a dry dock. And then initially, they didn't want to absorb the cost of the dry dock. I don't think that's taxpayers. We're only getting $100 a year from them. And that's okay, but we don't think the taxpayers should pay for us to have to dry dock our canal boat. And there's a couple other issues, major issues, and Dave was a good part of that, and we're coming up with maintenance costs and stuff, and I think we'll come to a resolve, because we're all supporting it. 4,200 megawatts.
And the other thing too is, you said the state, well, FERC is the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, so you also, in this particular case, are going to have to go through the federal government also, and the state, so, two of them.
Thank you. Anyone else like to address City Council? Name, address, in 5 minutes.
Hello, my name's Andrea, 1232 Butler Street. I came here before with my daughter when COVID happened, spoke about the mental health for children, for sports.
Excuse me, ma'am, what's your last name?
Suarez,
SW?
Soares. I'm also here with my brother. We both own the property, Tiago Suarez, which if you want to come up, you can, it's up to you. It's about the same situation. So I'm not sure, but has everyone here at one point in their life been to Lutzi's?
Sure.
Okay. Have you all noticed or witnessed them parking on the street in front of Lutzi's?
Yes, on the sidewalk.
Okay. So we're getting tickets for that. And a lot of the homes around us, they're not homeowners. There's very low, not many of them. They're more renters. They're taking up parking spots, and street cleaning now is purposely coming around even when it's not street cleaning and giving us tickets. I have no problem paying a ticket if I don't move my car, because I worked overnight and I was tired, and I've paid multiple tickets. But I just feel like if it's not cleaning day and other people are parking there even during the day to eat lunch, why am I being penalized and charged a ticket every week? like, to me, it's a lot of money. I'm not gonna lie. I don't feel like I should be able to pay it. I've appealed it multiple times. He's appealed his tickets. I've paid them just because I didn't have time to come here, but it's getting frustrating to a point.
So you're saying you're parking where the Lutzy customers park?
No, not where they park. So they have the parking lot.
Yeah, no, I'm not, on the street
Yeah,
where the sidewalk is, there's no curb there.
correct.
And so you park there, you get the ticket, but they don't. The customers don't.
So, and did I hear you say that you were getting street sweeping tickets on non-street sweeping days?
We're getting not street sweeping tickets. What he's doing is, because Lutzy's has a no parking sign at the end, right where the first home begins, right after the restaurant, which he told us, the owner told us, that sign is there so that no one blocks when people come out of their parking lot. Because technically, when there's a no parking sign, there's also yellow paint on the floor, and there's no yellow paint on that floor or on that corner of that street. So we mentioned that to the officer. He was actually very rude to my brother. I told my brother, just walk away. It's all right. We'll figure it out. But now he's purposely, like today, he came around today. There was no street cleaning. Street cleaning's on Thursday and Friday, and he ticketed my brother because he was parked there. Because there was no extra parking in front of our actual home because of other people.
It's another. My name's Tiago Suarez, 1232 Butler Street. Let's the other is my sister. And it's another thing because we've been there for 2 years and we've never had this issue before.
Yeah.
So now we're getting tickets for something that our day to day is already a norm and accustomed to, and many other people in the community are using that area as well. And now it's like, okay, and the restaurant owners are completely fine with us parking there, even to the point where the restaurant owner gave me permission to park in their parking spots overnight because they've seen that we're getting like tickets for spots that we've normally been able to use.
What's the violation?
The violation is
A no parking zone. Would you like to see it? You can give him your ticket. That one's from today. So mine says Florida plates because our mom passed away in February, and we brought her car up from Florida, and I'm the executor of the estate, and I'm still working on getting everything transferred over.
Understood.
But
Is there an actual no parking sign there?
it's in front of the one house right after the Lipsy.
But it's not striped though.
No. And, I don't know what to do. I've appealed it again because that's all I can do. But if there's any suggestions or any
appealed my first
information.
one like 4 times, and then they wouldn't give me.
We'll talk to the traffic department tomorrow about it. I'll talk to them tomorrow.
Okay. And I want to say thank you for the basketball camp up at College Hill this summer. My daughter loved it. I've told them I hope they do it again next year. So thank you. That's all I had.
Thank you.
Thank you.
for bringing that to our attention. Anyone else like to address the city council? Seeing none, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Mayor, before you go,
Go ahead,
Mayor.
Mr. Brown.
before you go. Yeah, I'd just like to give an update on what's happening with me right now.
Can you speak a
As
little
I,
louder, Kenny?
Recover, absolutely. As I recovered from my surgery a week ago today, I'm getting better. It was a 6-hour operation on my back. I'm standing now, walking now.
Oh, good.
Matter of fact, I got almost a mile in a day of walking with my friend. It's called my extra legs, so to speak, my walker with wheels. So I'm hoping to recover very shortly thereof, and hopefully by next council meeting, I'm there in person.
Well, we hope you
for your
also
support and your prayer.
wish you well in your recovery. It's a tough one, and I'm sure you have a pain in your back.
Is Mr. Brown
Well, then you had
competing
a
with
pain in
Mr.
my-
Campos?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
No, Mr. Brown is
I
not as
had no
serious.
business shadowing.
It's not
him.
life-threatening, but he did have 2 of his vertebrae fused.
If he went under anesthesia, it's life-threatening.
That's true. That is true. Thank you,
Well,
Mr.
good
Brown.
job.
Wish you well.
Thank you. Thank
Anyone
you.
else? Motion to adjourn.
I got it, Roger and Dave.
Roll call.
Mr. O'Connell?
Aye.
Dr. Ruggles?
Aye.
Mrs. Sultana?
Aye.
Mayor Panto?
Aye.
Mr. Brown? Mr.
Aye.
Milan?
Aye.
Thank you all.